Be sure to share, like, subscribe, and comment down below. Representative Trey Gowdy warns second special counsel may be unavoidable to probe FISA abuse. In an interview with Fox News' Maria Bartiromo Sunday, outgoing Representative Trey Gowdy said that he believes the appointment of a second special counsel tasked with probing widespread FISA abuse may be unavoidable.
The Justice Department handled the Hillary Clinton email probe. McCabe is reportedly taken to task for approving an improper leak to the Wall Street Journal back in 2016. Joining me right now is House Oversight Committee Chairman Trey Gowdy. He is also a member of the House Intel and Judiciary Committees. Mr. Chairman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
What are you expecting from the Inspector General report? Your take on this zeroing in on Andrew McCabe's action and the way this Hillary Clinton email probe was handled?
Well, those are three separate issues. You know, I talked to Inspector General Horowitz a couple of days ago, and I know not to ask him what he's found, and he's an honorable enough person not to tell me preliminarily what he's found. So I'm a little amused that there's a leak about him finding a leak within the FBI. I want to know everything that happened in 2016 and whether Andy McCabe was leaking for or against Hillary Clinton. I think it's important for all of us to know. I do find it interesting that you and I work in a town where leaks are so pervasive. And we have an Inspector General who's not supposed to discuss his report until it's made public, and yet you and I are having a conversation about what is in his non-public report. So I have a lot of confidence in him. I think he's going to find out what happened in 2016 with respect to decisions made and not made. But I don't think it's fair to the Inspector General for us to guess about what is in his report based on media reporting.
But really what I'm getting at is people would like to see accountability, Congressman. And I'm wondering if, in fact, at the end of the day, if it is proven that they handled the regulators, lawmakers, handled the email investigation with kid gloves and really let her off the hook while you have others going to jail for doing things in this same manner. So do you expect accountability in this case?
I do. I expect the Inspector General to issue a fact-centric, fair report. Look at what he's already found. He found the Strzok and Page text. Nobody else found that. So I think that he is uniquely well suited to tell us all what happened in 2016. We already know that the FBI and the Department of Justice handled this case differently. We already know that Jim Comey had an unprecedented press conference where he usurped a decision away from the Department of Justice. I've never seen that before. But we also know he sent 2 letters to Congress in the fall of 2016, both of which were unusual. So I think Michael Horowitz is uniquely well suited to put all of the public's fears at ease with a thorough fact-centric investigation.
Should the Attorney General be looking at this? Jeff Sessions, you know, the president tweeted out last week that he thinks it's disgraceful that Jeff Sessions is leaving it all to Michael Horowitz and the IG to look into these matters.
I'm smiling only because, you know, Jeff Sessions picked President Trump when he was a candidate out of 16 other candidates, including some colleagues. And then President Trump picked Jeff Sessions out of the entire universe of lawyers in the country. He picked him to be his attorney general. So I really wish they would communicate more privately as opposed to via Twitter. In this particular fact pattern, I think Attorney General Sessions is right that the Department of Justice itself should not be conducting this investigation. I also think the president's right from this limited standpoint. I don't think the Inspector General himself can answer all of our questions. Some of these witnesses have already left the department, which means the Inspector General does not have jurisdiction. And there are other agencies like the State Department where Michael Horowitz at DOJ has no jurisdiction whatsoever. Maria, over the weekend, I've counted up almost 24 witnesses that the Inspector General would not have access to were he alone conducting this investigation. So I think we're trending perhaps towards another special counsel because of this unique fact pattern and the fact that there are witnesses outside the reach of the Inspector General.
So we should have then, you believe, another special counsel to investigate these matters. How does one investigate itself, frankly?
Well, you don't. I wish that I had been able to grade my own papers in college and law school, but I was not able to. I would have done better, first of all. But we don't put family members on the jury. We don't put friends on the jury. You need an independent arbiter, and the Department of Justice cannot investigate itself. Horowitz can. that Horowitz is a fair guy, but when there are 24 witnesses that have left the department or work for another agency, someone else has to do it. Yeah. And I am reluctant to call for special counsel, but I think it may be unavoidable in this fact pattern.
Let me switch gears and ask you about the FISA abuses. And of course, we know that the FBI omitted a lot of information about the dossier. In particular, did not tell the FISA court that the Democrats and the Hillary Clinton campaign paid for it. Here's what Attorney General Jeff Sessions told me 2 weeks ago when he joined me on this program.
Every FISA warrant based on facts submitted to that court have to be accurate. That will be investigated and looked at, and we are not going to participate as a Department of Justice in providing anything less than the proper disclosure to the court before they issue a FISA warrant.
Will we see justice here, Congressman?
I hope so. It's been a year. And, you know, this is a unique court, Maria. In most courtrooms across the country, there are two lawyers, and we rely on the adversarial system to arrive at the truth. In a FISA court, it's just the government going in front of a judge. Right. So there's a unique responsibility to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. This footnote alone, where they go to great lengths to avoid mentioning the Democrat National Committee,
Stay
is
right
dumbfounding.
There. Stay right there, Congressman.
Yes,
we'll be right back. Committee Chairman Trey Gowdy. And, Mr. Chairman, you were in the middle of a thought about that footnote. Was it the footnote in the Democratic rebuttal?
It was, but you know, Maria, this Democrat memo, it makes me smile. If it were Adam Schiff, if it were up to him, it would have been a haiku and not a memo, because he did everything he could to keep us from finding out any of the information that was in either one of those memos. So Congress has proven itself incapable of investigating this FISA abuse. DOJ should not be looking into it. We need an independent arbiter. That's either the Inspector General or special counsel.
Let me ask you, a lot of people have been disappointed to learn that you will not seek re-election, Congressman. You've been doing such important work, obviously, and you have been seeking the truth, and we thank you for that, Congressman. Do you worry that once you are gone, because you're not seeking re-election, that these investigations slow down, that we will actually not get to the truth?
Well, first of all, thank you for saying that. Second of all, I don't, because there are some really good members of Congress, guys like Johnny Ratcliffe, Elise Stefanik. They're not incredibly well known because they don't drive drunk and they don't cheat on their wives and they don't do the other things that, unfortunately, you have to do to get well known in this modern day culture. But there's some really good women and men that will be left in Congress. And the one job that only I can do is be a good husband and a good father. So I'm going to come back to South Carolina and try to do a better job of that.
I wonder if the president decides to make a change in the Attorney General's office and would like you to be his AG, if that would change your mind.
Well, I would tell the president, with all due respect, that he can do a lot better than me. While I love that system, I love the justice system. It's the best job I've ever had. Unfortunately, I've been in politics for 8 years. And in the current modern day political environment, it'd be a tough confirmation. So I would advise them to pick a woman or a man who has a career in law enforcement that's never donated to a political campaign and never run for public office before. That's a unique job where you work for a blindfolded woman holding a set of scales. It has nothing to do with politics. And there are lots of really good people not named Trey that he ought to look at.
It's disheartening to see how much politicization has gone on in government. How hard is it to turn this ship around, given the fact that we know what went on at the IRS, the targeting of conservatives? We know what went on at the top of the FBI in terms of these omissions and the bias against President Trump. How hard is it to turn this ship around in terms of the politicization that has gone on in our government agencies?
Well, it's proven difficult for the last 7 years. I haven't done a very good job of it. Maria, it takes 3 different groups in our culture to provide proper oversight. It does require Congress. It requires the media, and the media has to ask tough questions on both sides, but it also requires the voters to insist upon it. And what I really hate is relativism, which is we're going to judge this party by a different standard than the one that we judge another party. I think the same rules ought to apply to both sides, and I hope the voters get to the point where they do apply the same rules to both Republicans and Democrats. Then I think we'll see the change that you referenced.
All right, we will be watching. Congressman, it's good to see you, sir. Thanks so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Congressman Trey Gowdy there. Meanwhile, President Trump last week meeting with lawmakers from both sides of the aisle on gun control. Some of his suggestions include the expansion of
like, subscribe, and comment down below. And tell me how you feel about this report. But other than that, I hope you guys have a great day. Let's make America great again. Peace.